Oh. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. I have 7 p.m. Is there any public comments? Oh, it turned off. Sorry. Okay, Matt Johnson, welcome. I'll go ahead and start at the end over there and work their way this way, please.
So I'm Jeff Weed. I'm not a member of the board. I am with the Churchill County District Attorney's Office.
And I'm, like she said, Matt Johnson. Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Justin Heath, County Commissioner.
Bob Frankie, nothing else to say.
As I introduce myself, Chris Hadley, I'm the chairperson. If you have any questions, just email away, and welcome, welcome. We're so thankful to have you. We can't do this board without our volunteers, so thank you.
My name is Ava Case.
Amber Ghetto, School Board Representative.
Is there any other public comments? Okay, moving along, verification and posting of agenda.
Agenda was posted per NRS.
Okay, consideration and possible action regarding approval of agenda as submitted or revised. May I have a vote, please?
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Is there a second?
Ava Case, seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving along. Consideration and possible action regarding the approval of minutes of the meetings held on January 10th, 2023 and December 6th, 2022.
This is Ava Case. I make a motion that we accept the minutes as drafted.
Is there a second?
Second it.
All in favor? Okay. Moving along is our committee and departmental reports, director's report, department and updates and events reports. Jorge, you are on.
I'm going to allow Jordan to speak first.
Hi, I'm Robin Jordan. I'm the Recreation Supervisor for the Parks and Recreation Department. I'm just, nice to meet you, Matt, and everyone else. I just wanted to give an update. Jorge asked me to do an update on our Some Fun and Care programs. So we moved to the cottage schools last April 2022, with our first building. They completed the second building for us to move into of June, the first week of June this year, so it was ready in time for Some Fun. So we were able to increase our capacity to 120 students in the buildings in the program, which is a huge increase from previous years when 45 students was what we would normally have. So this year we actually have, for Some Fun throughout the summer, 147 students registered throughout the summer, with about 100 to 110 registered per day. We're open 10 and a half hours a day from 7:30 to 6, and we luckily have a lot of staff this year, or enough staff this year, to be able to adequately staff each shift. But that's our biggest program, and it's our biggest needed program because we're providing something that's not provided in the community, that these kids need somewhere to go for their out of school time. We also got a new electronic playground system installed this year through a grant received through social services. And it was finally finished the first week of July with all the electrical components being installed. So the kids are really loving that. We only have 3 weeks of Some Fun left, and then our care program will start, which is our after-school program. And we are able to be open at all hours that parents need care, Monday through Friday. So throughout the year, we're open 249 days, and of those 249 days, 112 of them are full days, so our full 10 and a half hours. So that's the Fridays, holiday breaks. We're only closed on federal holidays. And we're expecting to have a lot of kids in the after-school program this year. So that's what's going on over there. And if you drive by, you can see all of them out there playing on the playground and going to the pool and going on their field trips. Yeah. And yeah, one of our members is here now, swimming 3 days a week and going on to all the, yeah. We utilize also, we've been doing a lot of partnerships with the library, Western Nevada College, the Churchill County Museum, the city of Fallon, with use of the city county gym. We've been able to schedule in there and with the outdoor pool and the indoor pool, so they stay busy. And that's Some Fun and Care.
Yeah, and I thought it was pretty cool how we were able to get that second pod open, because, you know, leading up to that, it was kind of touch and go, and registration was just going through the roof. So we were able to finish the inside and get it set up so it'd be ready to go that first week. We're still finishing some of the painting on the outside. You know, feel free to reach out to Robin or myself if you want to take a tour of the program. The playground system, like I said, it was through a grant. It was funds that were left over from COVID. It was like an education or a stopgap for education, and so we ended up electing going with this electronic playground system, which has an educational component to it. And so it was really neat to get that opportunity. However, it just took us a while, just like everything else, for it to come in. And then once it did come in, installing it, and then of course getting it online. And so so the kids are pretty excited about that, and I thought it was kind of exciting to kind of add a little more modern feel, you know, to the playground over at cottage schools. And so the county did you know, provide funding for the third pod. It's going to be a little bit more cumbersome, as you recall. The first pod that we worked on, we actually shot for the one that had been used recently, and so it was easy lift. And then, of course, it got worse as we went along, and so we're into that last one. And so, but we're hopeful that we'll get that also completed, and the program just continues to grow. So we are hoping that the school district can get us some transportation this year. And you know, in the past, well, at least this last year, we were busing everybody with our cart buses and vans, and it's very cumbersome, very difficult with all the different let-out times and trying to get to one school to the other. And it seemed like Lahontan was always at the end, and that's where all our littles were at. And so so it was real difficult. And then also the other issue we were having is that all the kids were getting out, but all of our staff were still in school because they're high schoolers, and they're the last ones to get out. And so So it made it very challenging, and we made it happen. So we were averaging, about 80 kids, about 70, 80 kids during care last year. Yeah, and so you can imagine how many stops and pickups and everybody getting out at the different times. And so it sounds like the superintendent, at least the new superintendent, is open to listening to, I guess, our ideas. And so hopefully they'll be able to create a stop at Cottage Schools is what we're shooting for, or even possibly at one of the schools, where they could all go there and then come over to the Cottage Schools. So we're trying to figure it out, and they're being receptive. The school district is, and so that's very appreciative. So as far as other items in the department, let's go to aquatics. We usually do our annual shutdown for a month. We do that when school opens. We seem to see our enrollment really drop because everybody's in so many programs and school started, and so it's a good time for us to do it. Not to mention that the weather is still warm. We've done it in the winter in the past and froze everything up, and so this seems to work out pretty good. This is our year to drain and paint the basin, so that'll be the focus of the closure this year. So as far as the 3C complex, we had a pretty busy June. We had Battleborns and kicked off all the activities. That was also televised on the Cowboy Channel. Second year event, and just continues to grow and gain in popularity. From there, we went to a top shelf barrels the next day, and then we went to World Series roping, which went for about 5 days. And then from there, we, I guess, kicked off the DeGoyer Bucking Bash, and so which was another huge event again this year. Much more organized. They did a really good job. We did some reconfiguring to the main arena to make it more functional for them, which I know they appreciated, which then turned around and gave them a better event. So made it much quicker. People weren't there as long, and so, but at the same time, we had a good showing. So right now, the city of Fallon's hosting a baseball tournament. We had a kickoff dinner on Sunday at the Rafter 3C. It sounded like they had about 1,000 people there for the dinner. It was all up on the concourse, used up all our tables and chairs, and even had to rent a few more. But I think last year they had like around 500, so it goes to show how much it's grown. So, and I think the high school football team was the servers at that, so it kind of was a little fundraiser for them as well too. So, speaking of the Rafter 3C, we've installed cabinets. I don't know if you've heard, but maybe some of you recall the Nugget and Sparks. When you used to walk in off of Victorian, they used to have that belt buckle and the branding display. Well, we were able to secure that. County Manager Barbie was able to get that, and so we're hoping to display all that in the Rafter 3C. So it should be pretty neat. We're waiting right now to install the glass in the cabinets. So, but when you come into the Rafter 3C, you'll see the cabinets where they'll be displaying those just as you come into the entrance. And then we went ahead and also outfitted all the insets at the Buckland room, and so it just really has made it look pretty sharp in there. So if you get a chance to come in there, you can see it. The governor is going to be in town on Friday, and I don't know if you've heard that. And so he'll be visiting the Rafter 3C and doing some activities there, and so we're getting ready for him. So that should be pretty interesting how that all plays out. So let's see what else I got. As far as August events, the big ones, Cantaloupe Festival's coming up. They're planning. We are not going to be hosting the Pop Warner Jamboree this year. It just got to be too much. We couldn't have the Cantaloupe Festival and the Jamboree. So I think they're relocating it. We tried to get them to go on a different weekend, but it just doesn't work out for their schedule for how many days of practice they need before they can actually, put pads on and stuff. And so, so we tried to work with them, but it was quite a fiasco on that Saturday with, they'd have like 60, 70 teams out there on Miners Road, and then of course, on Sheckler, and then along with the Cantaloupe Festival, people were parking along the highway. A lot of people don't really understand that we have all that extra parking out on Miners Road, and so they're starting to figure it out. And so hopefully this next year it'll be a little better. Just wanted to let everybody know we're no longer doing sandbags. The flood is apparently we're saved. So we have 30,000 sandbags on the ground right now, so I think we still have plenty if anybody does need them. But we're going to go ahead and break down shop. We're going to put all of our equipment away and kind of call it a year. So, but if we need to, we can put that back up and be running again shortly. So, so I want to talk a little bit about SNPLMA. Some of you may have heard about SNPLMA or probably read in the paper. It's the Southern Nevada Public Lands Management Act, which we are part of now, Churchill County. And so we had gone and met with them at their board meeting and kind of found out a little bit more about the program. I guess the intent of the program is to establish or to preserve public access to facilities, recreational facilities. SNPLMA is broken down into like 7 different categories, but the one that we qualify is for parks and recreation and trails. And so with that, we've received quite a bit of feedback from them, and we initially had, put together some pretty big projects that we were going to put forward, and I think we kind of had to pull the reins in a little bit, and we realized that it was probably time to really kind of detail out like 3 solid projects. So right now, we're working with Loomis, and we're putting together conceptual plans, and I was hoping to be able to show those tonight, but we're still making tweaks to those, and so at the next meeting, I hope to have those to show you. So the 3 projects right now that we're trying to push forward is going to be the North Main ball fields, along with, along with the adult softball fields. Kind of like a whole package deal to kind of upgrade all of that area. And so far, just with the ideas that we've come up with, and Steve Moon has just been, his ideas have been great. And so, but we're still tweaking little things here and there. The minor, the details as far as like having storage for the teams, as far as the local teams and local programs. There is possibly a skywalk, for going over the over Main Street, to be able to access both. That is actually something that SNPLMA pushed. They said that that's something that they really would be. It would really help us if we had that in our project. So. The other 2 projects are the 3C Event Complex, continue improving that facility, and then the 3rd project will be Oser Regional Park, which is right there, the soccer fields and all those areas, just redoing all the fields. And we're looking at like possibly sports turf, all new facilities, lighting, utility systems, the whole thing, the whole 9 yards. So we're figuring that each project's going to be somewhere probably around $20-25 million. So that'll be the 3 projects, and all of them are kind of set up. Well, North Main and the adult softball field, we're hoping to be a complete project and be done. But the complex and Oser would be kind of more like a phased project. And then that would allow us the next year we can put in 3 projects every year. So just a matter of seeing what we throw up and they decide to fund. So that's kind of where we're at with the SNPLMA project. So that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
I have a couple. I had some community members ask me about the cracks in the concrete on the foyer of Rafter 3C. Have they been looked at? I mean, I know we're safe, obviously, but
yeah, those are just that's pretty normal.
Okay.
When you have that big of a slab,
Right.
and then the way that we sealed it and stained it.
Yeah. Would you just have these people come in there and they're like, all this money was spent. Why is it cracked already? And it's kind of like, I don't know. I'll ask at the meeting.
Concrete. It's,
Yeah.
It's,
And
you have
then-
that much of it. So.
Yeah. And then I had somebody ask me today about the pickleball courts. And I know you mentioned them at our last meeting about something by tennis courts or
So
something.
part of the Oser project,
Oh,
there's pickleball and tennis courts included in that project.
Okay. So it's down the road.
Well, and just so you know how this funding works, is that about middle of August it'll open, and so that's when we start putting together our proposals.
Gotcha.
And so once you turn those in, SNPLMA has them for 30 days to kind of poke and prod them, and then they give them back to us for 30 days to make changes or listen to their feedback, and then we put them back in, and then they review them again for another 30 days. And then it has a process that they go through. And so most likely you're looking at funding possibly 2 years from the time that you put in your first. And we're in round 20, so you can see how how long the program has been going. And so right now, I think they have about $4 billion in the project or in the fund, but it's all broken down, and it's not specific to each category. It's a matter of just what programs are put forward, and then of course they have set asides because you have Clark County and some of these other locations where the money is established at that they have set asides for. So
Okay, perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. Do anybody else have any questions? No? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on and consider future agenda items.
just another SNPMA update
Okay.
at the next meeting, and I'll hope to have some actual pictures for us to look at. So we'll do a little slideshow.
Okay. Perfect, that would be nice. And then set our next agenda, meeting for August 1st. Is that too soon for you, or do you want to go into September?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be on vacation, so if we could
Okay.
maybe even possibly do the following week.
Okay, September 5th is the day after Labor Day. Does anybody have any issues with
Actually, I
that?
was thinking like the 8th.
Oh, the 8th?
Yeah, like the next week.
Oh, I'm sorry, in August? Oh, I
Yeah,
apologize. Is that good for you guys? Down the road here? Justin, you good? Okay, we'll set it for August 8th, 2023 at 7 PM, same place. And then is there any more public comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, we brought Matt onto the board, and it's not just because, he's a great guy. He's been with CCYSA for a long, how many years would you say? Yeah, 14 years. And of those 14 years, how long have you been the chair of the program? Yeah, turn your mic on too there. There you go.
My oldest is getting ready to turn 16. I started serving on the board with them the first year after her first T-ball season. And then the last 5 years, I've been the president of the organization.
So when he applied, it was a no-brainer to get him on the board, especially with all these improvements that we're looking at doing with SNPMA and, just his expertise with the fields. And so, I know he's going to be eager to see what improvements we're looking at doing. So, but we want to welcome him aboard because, like I said, he has unselfishly done things over that North Main ball field, not only as a board member, but also as a coach as well too. So we appreciate everything he does over there. So.
Is there any other public comments? Okay, I'll go ahead and adjourn. I have 7:20.